welcome to ERi-TV English News Broadcast. It's now exactly 10:30 p.m. Asmara time and we are ready for a domestic and international report for Monday, 17th of November 2025. Reporting live from our quarters in Asmara and inviting you to stay with us is Heaven Johan, senior news anchor for this session. I present you the major headlines. Meetings focusing on development programs in the northern Red Sea region. Capacity upgrading training to teachers in Orona subzone. In our international report, Colombia inks $4.3 billion deal to buy Swedish warplanes. And President Putin and Prime Minister Netanyahu hold a phone call. In today's domestic report, Mr. Jacob Idris, administrator of Nakfa subzone, conducted meetings with residents of various administrative areas in the subzone from the 2nd to the 12th of November, focusing on development programs in general and the use of social service institutions in particular. At the meetings in which area administrators, village coordinators, village elders and reconciliation committees from 11 administrative areas took part, Mr. Jacob said that the water and soil conservation activities carried out by residents and members of the popular forces have made significant contributions to stabilizing the environment and controlling soil erosion. Noting that almost all administrative areas have equitable access to health and educational services, Mr. Jacob called on parents, teachers and village coordinators to strengthen their participation in efforts to enhance the teaching-learning process. In the same vein, the PFDJ office of the Northern Red Sea region conducted a seminar for government workers and public representatives focusing on the objective situation in the homeland and regional developments. A similar seminar was also conducted in Abad for heads of line ministries and national associations. The Ministry of Education branch in the Orona subzone has provided capacity upgrading training to 60 newly assigned teachers from college with the objective of improving the teaching and learning process. The training covered class management, lesson planning, student evaluation, as well as student-centered teaching methodology. Mr. Sultana Gabrionas, head of the education office in the subzone, noting that teaching is a noble profession that shoulders a heavy responsibility, called on the trainees to play their due role in improving the teaching and learning process with the knowledge they gained from the training. The trainees, indicating the importance of the training and exercising their teaching responsibilities, urged it for its sustainability. Moving on to the southern Red Sea region, the Ministry of Agriculture in the region provided training on date farming with a view to enhancing the understanding of exemplary farmers and agricultural professionals on date farming development. The theoretical and practical training covered the management and treatment of date palm trees, modalities of crossbreeding date palm trees, product collection, post-harvest management, fertilization methods, and major pests and diseases that affect the development of date palm trees, as well as the advantages and benefits of dates along the Red Sea coast. Mr. Mohammed Abdul Rahman, head of the Agriculture Office branch, said that the objective of the training was to enhance the understanding of farmers and agricultural experts, as well as to produce an abundant date harvest and supply the market. The training on their part called for the sustainability of the program. Do stay tuned, dear viewers, for we shall be back with the international news after the short break. Welcome back. Colombian President Gustavo Petro has announced a $4.3 billion deal to buy Swedish warplanes at a time when his country is locked in tension with the United States. Speaking on Friday, President Petro confirmed an agreement was reached with Sweden's Saab aircraft manufacturer to buy 17 Gripen fighter jets, giving the first confirmation of the size and cost of the military acquisition that was initially announced in April. Deliveries of the new fighter jets are expected to take place between 2026 and 2032. The new jets will replace Colombia's aging fleet of Israeli-made Kafir aircraft, which were acquired in the late 1980s. The purchase of warplanes comes as Colombia and much of remaining Latin America are on edge due to a U.S. military build-up in the region and as U.S. forces carry out a campaign of deadly attacks on vessels in the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific. In today's final report, Russian President Vladimir Putin and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu have spoken over the phone ahead of the UN Security Council vote on the deployment of peacekeepers in Gaza. The Kremlin said on Saturday that a thorough exchange of views took place on the situation in the Middle East region, including developments in the Gaza Strip in the context of implementing the ceasefire agreement and the exchange of detainees. The leaders also discussed Iran's nuclear program and the situation in Syria. Netanyahu's office released a shorter statement, saying that the Israeli Prime Minister and the Russian President had discussed regional issues. Earlier this month, the U.S. circulated a proposed resolution authorizing the deployment of the International Stabilizing Force, ISF, in Gaza for a period of at least 2 years and calling for the establishment of the so-called Board of Peace as transitional governing body. On Friday, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the UAE, Jordan, Turkey, Pakistan and Indonesia released a joint statement backing the American proposal. Moscow has submitted an alternative proposal tasking the U.S. Secretary General with drawing up options for implementing U.S. President Donald Trump's peace plan. The Russian mission criticized the American plan for lacking instruments of oversight and control over the stabilization force and not mentioning the two-state solution. It said that only a truly equal and inclusive approach can guarantee peace. This wraps up our domestic and international news for this session. Dear viewers, before we finalize, I present you the major headlines once more. Meetings focusing on development programs in the northern Red Sea region. Capacity upgrading training to teachers in Orona subzone. Colombia aims $4.3 billion deal to buy Swedish warplanes. And President Putin and Prime Minister Netanyahu hold a phone call. This was the Roll Monday with ERi-TV English News broadcast. Dear viewers, from all of us here, thank you for joining. Join us again on our tomorrow's broadcast. Until then, stay well.